So most people have seen, all these companies. And there's many others you can add to that, like every hospital in the country. Um, you can add a ton of people, but what these all have in common is technology, our government, and these people that are very powerful. Okay. And so if you didn't see my last two videos, you have to see that so you understand neurodiversity. So a lot of the reason all of these people have pushed the DEI stuff is it really goes to neurodiversity. So neurodiversity, I guess some of the people that have autism, they formed like their own movement online, okay? Which was fine, except that it went rather off the rails because they formed this movement, and their movement's emphasis is on neurodiversity as a positive aspect of identity. But by doing that, they ignore the people that actually have high or have severe problems with autism and need help. Because what they say is, no, you have to accept it. So you have to be inclusive and accept all of it. So then what it does is it prevents the people with severe autism to get help for it being a disability, because it can't be a disorder. Get treatment, you can't, because then you're saying it's a disorder. And yet the thing that's lacking, that we lack, I don't care what expert wants to tell you, what we lack is empathy. Okay, and you will not, the tech world should not be figuring out how to give people empathy. That's what they do. This is what these people do. Is then they say, we're going to fix it. No, because most of Silicon Valley prides themselves on wanting neurodiversity. So from an article where you'll hear how it's so great about autism in Silicon Valley, the intersection of autism in the tech industry, the future. So here we are at the intersection of autism and the tech industry. It's a place where unique minds are shaping the future, where neurodiversity is recognized and celebrated. It's a place where my child and others like her can find their niche. It's a place where the so-called disorder becomes a strength, a unique perspective, and drives innovation. Okay, so see, this just tells you everything you need to know if you really think about it here, okay? Again, I'm not going after people with autism. First of all, I think there's some people that head up tech. Because again, Silicon Valley is tied to the military-industrial complex. So when you see your articles, like a few years ago when it came out that Fauci and his NIH was doing experiments on beagle puppies, or the article I put up earlier today about how like every section of our government was doing torturing cats, then what you need to realize is people that have empathy would not be able to do that. They wouldn't. Not like that. Not like what no. You would need a special kind of person. And this isn't going after going after autism. But I think there's people in the military industrial complex in Silicon Valley itself, period. I look at Silicon Valley as the military industrial complex. They are the tech mecca of the world. Look at how much tech is controlling everything. This is why they want to merge you with computers. They don't want people like me saying, no, sorry, wait a minute, you've gone too far. We should not have tech giants deciding we'll tell you how to have empathy, because what it's doing is it's creating no balance here. There's no balance. Where in the government do we have people with empathy? I would bet very few places, because nobody ever stops to think about how important it is. Instead, we have political parties, and it's more on the right that says this, that your facts come over your feelings. Yeah, that's a horrible thing to say. It really is, because first of all, facts have been very wrong in the last several years, if anybody's paying attention. But you have to have empathy. It's the sole part of being human. So the very people that want to merge you with your software are the same people that they don't have empathy. And likely they fear that someday they're not going to be able to have their Mecca kingdom there in Silicon Valley, or they don't want to have to deal with us people that have empathy. And so it's easier to push you to merge with your machine, because then all of those people will not fear the people like me. Do you understand? Can you follow what I'm saying here? Because the problem with Silicon Valley, even though they want to make out like all of their minds are so great, no, you don't. You want one sort of mind. You have great coders and people that know technology that are expert at it and can recognize patterns in codes. But you can't recognize how empathy, that you have removed empathy the more and more you push your technology. So how is that coder very good? They're good at numbers. They're good at coding for software, but not in being able to see the pattern in society. But I think some of them do see it, which is why they want to have control over people by merging people with software. Looking ahead, the potential is immense. Imagine a tech industry that fully embraces neurodiversity, that sees the value in different ways of thinking, but they don't. They don't, because most of Silicon Valley is the same in their thinking. They're great coders. They're great at what they do. I'm not taking that away from them. What they lack is the fact that they only want a certain kind of person. They want the people that don't have empathy. Because it's the people that have empathy that are going to say, stop, we shouldn't do this. You're pushing the boundary. You're going too far with torturing cats. You're going too far with hurting beagle puppies and monkeys. And you're going too far. They don't want that. So it's just like how DEI is used to push this foolishness that children should change their genders, and every hospital and medical place in the country has decided, because they're telling me that I'm just going to go along with that. It's against the science of the frontal lobe. I've said it a million times. But that's what tech does. They control the culture. Imagine a society that understands and accepts ASD, autism spectrum disorder, that considers the person, not the condition. So that right there is a problem, because there's many people, they're the people I take care of, that have it severe. Their parents are struggling. These people, once they're adults, and many of them already, cannot take care of themselves. So Silicon Valley is not doing a good thing. Not that I think they're up to wanting to do a good thing. But because I recognize this pattern after watching it has to be in the hundreds of podcasts I've listened to with all these former Alphabet or Google or CEOs. Whether they're all the same. The pattern with every single one of them is they lack empathy. It's a future I dream of for my child and everyone on the autism spectrum. And in Silicon Valley, that future seems within reach. It's a beacon of hope, a testament of the power of acceptance and understanding. No, it's going too far. Again, just like we should accept that children should have their genitals mutilated by a surgeon. And because tech says that that's being inclusive and it's being diverse, and they use all of this jargon, okay, it ends up hurting so many people. That's the same thing here, the same exact thing. That's such the danger with all this diversity, that game that's being played. Despite the strengths individuals with ASD bring to the tech industry, they also face unique challenges. Imagine navigating a social event when you struggle with social cues, or trying to focus in a bustling office when you're sensitive to noise. These are everyday realities for many with ASD. It's like trying to solve a complex equation without all the variables. So what they've done is they've created their own society, which is fine. But now they're trying to push that on the rest of us, the same way they did with wanting to push everyone has to accept whatever a child says their gender is. Yeah, no, this is the reason, what we need back in government, but nobody's going to admit it. What we need back in government and at the highest levels is people that truly have empathy, truly have it.